everyone, and welcome back to my channel True Crime and Trials, where I discuss true crime and trials. My name's Lindsay, and I think you know what I'm about to say. And we have the next two witnesses in the Bob Durst trial, and first up is David Izenman. Now, he was Susan's hairdresser from 1989 until she died, and he would see her every 6 weeks. And as we know, when we all go to the hairdressers, you sit and talk, and this is something we knew Susan liked to do, and she would discuss Bob with him. She would speak about him in glowing terms, sometimes even godlike, and that she was very close to him. There came a time when Susan was unable to pay David, and he told her not to worry about it and to just pay him when she had got back on her feet. She told him that she was expecting a check from Bob and she would give him some money then. It was actually a few years that she couldn't pay him. I mean, very generous of him to just not. I mean, I think he was a top hairdresser as well, so he won't have been cheap. The last time David saw Susan, it was 5 weeks prior to her death. And that last time, David noticed a change in her when she spoke about Bob. David says she was becoming more desperate, and she couldn't get in touch with Bob as she was expecting money from him. She was becoming more and more distressed, and she said the money wasn't coming fast enough from Bob. He says towards the end, he says that Susan's laughs were gone and she was getting more and more depressed. Really sad. So that was a quick one, just another insight to Susan. So next up, we have ex-detective Brad Roberts. Now, he is ex-LAPD and he was a homicide detective for 15 years. So on the 24th of December 2000, he responded as the lead investigator to Susan's house, and he arrived at 2:15 p.m. Checked the windows and they were all locked and the screens were all still in place with no damage. Everything seemed normal, as you can see in this picture. There were no signs of forced entry anywhere in the house. When asked what the state of the inside of the house was, he says it wasn't ransacked, but it was very dirty. Things were scattered around, clothes, towels on the floor, paper spread out. Again, didn't appear to be ransacked or that there were any signs of a struggle. The TV, computer and Susan's purse were all still there. Her credit cards and ID all still in her purse. And as you can see in the picture, there seems to be no evidence of even that purse being moved or looked in. So when the coroner examined Susan's body at the scene, she had no underwear on. Not sure how relevant it is. I mean, did she just like to be free and comfortable or what? Don't know. Thought I'd put that in there anyway, seeing it was told in court. When Brad got there, the blood around Susan's head was dry. Brad searched Susan's house, found no weapons, but found the shell casing. It's a 9mm bullet casing. No fingerprints were found on the casing, although it's very common to not be able to get a fingerprint from a bullet casing. Brad found the movie stub on Susan's desk from when she went out with Richard. Every time I hear about that, it just makes me feel really sad. But I'm glad she got to spend time with a friend, had dinner and watched a movie. I'm just glad she got to do something like that. At some point, they left the house and didn't go back again till the 26th, obviously because of Christmas. They took Susan's computer so the hard drive could be examined. Don't know the results of that. 29th of December, he got a phone call from Beverly Hills PD telling him that they had received a note, which is obviously the cadaver note. That note was then sent for testing. They were able to get any fingerprints or DNA from them. On the 5th of January 2000, he got a call from Detective Becerra from New York State Police, who was involved in the case of Kathy's disappearance. On the 11th of January, he was no longer involved in the case as they didn't have the manpower, and it was becoming more and more high profile. Obviously, all the cases were getting connected together. Paul Coulter took over. Brad took Paul on a walkthrough of Susan's home, and they recovered bank statements from Susan's filing cabinet. As you can see here, and on the second page shows a deposit of £25,000 on the 21st of November. They also retrieved a list that looks that Susan had made with names and amounts of money next to the names, presuming that's what money Susan owed to these people. That was the end of Brad's involvement in the case. Mr. Chesnoff points out again, as we heard way back in the first testimony with the policeman that initially went there, that none of them were wearing gloves and booties, which, you know, doesn't sound good at all. No matter how many times you hear it or excuses are made, they should have been wearing protective gear. It took 2 weeks since his first day on this case for him to collect items from Susan's office area. What is it with these investigations into anything that's connected to Bob Durst? Because it's just shocking. He learnt through the investigation that 2 people had got into the house by climbing through the window. He says no windows were left unlocked. But obviously this can mess up a crime scene. So, you know, from the get-go, this crime scene was just messed up. You know, they didn't wear protective gear, and people were getting into the house. I mean, it wasn't secured properly, obviously. Even though he says the windows are locked, people were still getting in. So, you know, it proves their point that no matter how security conscious Susan was, people could get in if they wanted to. So there we go. I'll be back with more in the next video. So until then, bye for now.